Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are featuring a brand new release from Seiko. This has only just been released for sale in the UK today, and it is the Seiko Prospex Solar Chronograph. But this one is a little bit special because this version of it is their reinterpretation of the legendary Pogue watch. Now, when I say legendary, it truly is. I think it was released around about 69-ish, and it was a chronograph which also featured a vertical clutch and column wheel to boot. Now, a lot of watches these days don't feature that same kind of tech unless you're buying a very kind of high-end chronograph watch. And basically it was nicknamed the Pogue because in '73 William Pogue, who was an astronaut, wore it up in space, and it has legendary status ever since. But before I get too far into this review, I've got to say a massive thank you to the team over at First Class Watches. They have been so helpful to the channel, really friendly, great, great guys to work with. And if check out their Trustpilot reviews, absolutely solid. If you're in the Midlands area, I'd rather if you pop into the shop, check it out. If you're a bit further afield, well, don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description and at the bottom of the page now. All I ask is if you do contact them anyway, please mention the channel, because it really would help. So let's talk sizes first. The case size on this watch is 41.2mm. The thickness of the watch, I'm reading 12.3mm, and the lug to lug, 13.2mm. Sorry about that. And the lug to lug here is 45.5, which makes it a very wearable watch on the wrist. The bracelet size on this is 21mm. Now, the dial is where this one all is at, because it's got the same color scheme as the original Pogue watch from the early 70s. Now, what I mean by that, this gorgeous golden sunburst dial. The sunbursting on it is quite epic, really. It really does look good when you get close to it. And that is the same colour. And we have the same colour tachymeter on the bezel here. And for the eagle-eyed viewers, it's the second hand as well, is also matching that same look. So that's why they're going with the Pogue reinterpretation there. Now, obviously, it's a chronograph. Now, one thing I would say, when you set the chronograph on this watch, there's no audible click. Ready if I do that again? It's very muted. I like a bit of a click, but it's not really here or there. As I say, this dial, we have an applied Seiko logo on there, and it looks really nicely done, I have to say. Now, these three subdials, what do they all mean? This is your constant ticking seconds for your time. This one over here is the minutes for your chronograph when that's running. And over here is the 24-hour indicator. So what that does, it shows you if it's AM or PM really. So this is a 60-minute counter here. You also have a date window over here coming up for the 4:30 position. Overall, it does look good. That should flick over now, being that it's going to hit 1 minute, and boom, it has done. So as I say, a 60-minute counter. I like the way you have the red on the second hand here. The hands themselves, beautifully polished, and a nice amount of lume on this, including the hour markers. It really does pop, that colour. Overall, I think the dial just looks really good. One thing you're having to remember, as this is a solar watch, these subdials are where the film is behind for it to transfer the light energy into electrical impulses for the capacitor in this very cool system. So anyway, let's do a reset before we go to the side. So if I press that again, nice, really does go well. Now obviously this hand is pointing at 12 and so is that, but I want to know how much power is left in this watch. If I press that, there you go. So we have a full indicator here, empty indicator there. Now, I've heard some people say, how long does it take to charge one of these? I think Seiko say in moderate sun up to 150 hours. In real strong sunlight can be up to, as low as 5 hours, which is pretty impressive. But anyway, The crystal on this is a sapphire crystal. It does have AR coating, but on the inside to it. Now, the bezel itself, it isn't turnable in any way. This is a fixed bezel, and it features this Pepsi coloured tachymeter on there. I personally have never used a tachymeter, so I dare say someone might have, but not something I would bother with myself. Now, the actual casework, I think the casework looks quite tidy on this. We have these nice polished sides with then radial brushwork going around and stopping at the inner part of the lugs there. Overall, just looks really crisp and nice, and it is very, very soft. Doesn't feel like there's any sharp edges. Now, when we come to this side, obviously we have the pushers going on here and the time set crown. Now, as I've said before, this doesn't screw down, so you can't actually do anything with it. So it just spins as it is. It isn't a screw down crown, but you do have 100 meters of water resistance to this. So you're not going to have any problems in getting this one wet. So as we look round to the back, we have a solid case back, but underneath that is the V192. It's used in most of their chronograph, solar chronographs these days. As far as I know, it's quite a solid movement. But I think stated accuracy is, I think it's plus or minus 15 seconds a day. Now, what you got to remember is quartz does change somewhat when it goes to very low or very high temperatures. So I think they only guarantee that between 5 degrees Celsius and 35 degrees Celsius or 41 Fahrenheit and 140 Fahrenheit. Anything when it goes hotter or colder than that, obviously it can have a detrimental effect to the watch. Now, bracelet itself does feel quite substantial. It's got a decent weight to it, it has to be said. I don't know if it's pin and collar or split pins. I believe it's probably split pins, but I'm not 100% sure. The clasp itself is that going to zoom in? There we go. Is fully brushed and overall looks quite nice. When you press it down, very solid. You do have two pushers on there. You need to press both to actually release it. You do have 2 levels of micro adjustment on there. Let me put this on my wrist so you got an idea how it looks. Quick wrist check. Zoom out. I'm wearing a old Rolex Submariner from the early 50s, and Bob has got a glasswater mule on there, which is a little bit different. We haven't done many of them on the channel at all. So my wrist size is 7¼ inches, or that equates to roughly 18.5 centimeters. So if I put that on, look, it just looks really, it's a very, very nice fit on the wrist. I have to say it does, kind of sit down really nicely. I just think that dial, the color combination of those colors, it looks great. I really quite like it. I think it is quite a good looking watch. Let me know in the comments below, are you the kind of guy who would actually have a solar watch, or would you simply not entertain it? But anyway, most importantly, stay safe out there, guys, and all the best.